Welcome to Undressing Intimacy, where we cut through the bullshit
Greggy,
so we can get naked.
you can't say that.
Why not? How would you say it then?
Well, maybe more like, welcome to Undressing Intimacy, where we undress emotionally so we can undress physically.
That's exactly what I said. Not sure what the problem is. Welcome to episode
Number 41.
number 41. All right. Well, it happened. We knew someday it would. We weren't sure how we were going to deal with it. And now it's happened. And I'm not sure we dealt with it quite right. So I kind of like to talk about it.
What are you going to talk about?
We got our first 1-star review on our podcast.
Yes. That.
And we always knew that we couldn't be everyone's cup of tea, and that was fine. But I think what it said was probably more weighing on us than not. So our first 1-star review was something like this: not my cup of tea. The interviewer, so it must have been one of the ones that we had interviewed someone, seemed self-absorbed. And it's probably the thing that I've worried most about as we started this podcast.
Yeah. The perception that
somehow we haven't figured it out.
Yeah. That we're like anywhere near perfect and not human.
Yeah. And so if we did come across that way, first of all, we apologize because not in our intent. And 100%, we have just been lucky enough to be able to spend some time learning about relationships and marriage and messing it up pretty bad. I would have to say we're firsthand experience, and we keep doing this over and over again. And so if we came across as if we knew everything, that is not the fact. We just learned by hard knocks, and we want to share those with you. So I thought it would be a good idea to talk maybe about a recent experience that I think I didn't do so good at.
What are you going to introduce
And so
today?
maybe you can help me understand how I messed this one up and how I could do better.
Okay.
We spend a lot of time talking about, and our most popular episodes are on the sexual differences or desire differences between male and female.
Right. Male and female eroticism.
Male and female eroticism are top rated besides fantasy. Fantasy is growing fast and almost catching that male and female eroticism. So
we have
it's
a high
popular
click rate. For some reason, people like to listen to that more than talking about relationships.
I don't know. It's tantalizing, maybe.
Scintillating.
But it definitely is one of the topics. And because it really is the core of the issues that we have, right? Is this difference that we have in sexual desires. And going back again, we used to call this high and low desire, but we don't like that anymore because it really kind of says high is good and low is bad. And it's really not bad. It's just different.
It's not a measurement.
It's not a measurement.
In fact, they need to be different.
Yeah.
They kind of have to be different for it to make eroticism thrive.
That's where it grows, right? And lives.
Yeah.
Is in those differences. But needless to say, no matter how long you've been working at this and trying it and doing an okay job and then messing it up, you still struggle with this. I still struggle with this. I guess I said I should just take this personally. We had an amazing getaway to see my niece get married out in Cedar City, Utah. And it was wonderful. We enjoyed each other's company and time.
Mm-hmm.
There was no barriers between us. We were able to, some amazing sex. I'll just get to the point.
Okay.
I thought, right? I don't know about you, but I thought so. And I think you thought so too.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we came home.
Well, I think, back up just a little bit. There was amazing conversation.
Yes.
Holding, discussions, interactions, honesty, time, and sex was all a part of that.
Yes.
So
but this podcast is called Undressing Intimacy. But I guess intimacy is all that. Yes, very much good conversations. We had our own place where we could spend time watching movies and talking and chatting and listening to things. And there was all those things and great sex.
And we even got some sleep. Too.
Yes. And that always helped great sex. So then we came home to a crazy kind of life.
Yes.
An emotional roller coaster, really, for me. So I've told you the story about my horse Clifford. Love, love, love this guy. Probably more than I should. And we went out and showed him in Vegas. I told you that story, I think. And we've always been dealing with Clifford because he's been donated to us because he has a disease called navicular, which causes the bone in his front feet to degenerate and causes that deep flexor tendon that runs all the way down his leg and into his hoof to start being sore because it doesn't have the navicular bursa in the right place to be able to do it. And so it's continue battling with shoeing and injections and stuff to keep him sound. Well,
And sound means that he walks
yeah,
well.
so he can move well.
Yes, that's a horse term.
Horse term, sorry. So we took him to Vegas, and at Vegas we were able to do what they call a show block, which allows that pain to be blocked in him, and he was just fabulous, happy as can be,
Mm-hmm.
moved better than I have ever seen him move. I like questioned who took my horse and what they do with him, and it was just a wonderful time seeing him so happy. And we made the decision that when we came back, we were going to do what we call the navicular surgery, and well, it's not called navicular surgery; it's called nerving, where it makes that kind of show block permanent and allows him to be pain free. So we held our breath. We did the surgery, and he came out of the surgery, and he was happy from the moment he came out. We had to work on the bandages and stitches. I won't talk too much about it because Amy will faint on me. We don't want to do that.
I don't deal with that.
She doesn't do that with that well, but everything healed just so wonderfully. He was happy. I was starting to getting him out, and I had to keep his excitement under wraps because he wanted to rear up and buck and be just exciting. And we're like, no, you're too old for that, and you just had surgery, so we're gonna walk. Everything was on track. Tomorrow is the day when I should be able to ride him again. And then when we came home on Monday,
So we were gone for a few days where he wasn't, and he was in the stalls being attended to, but you,
yeah, he
no
wasn't
one
out and moving.
was specifically watching over
Right.
him.
Came back Monday, went to go see him, and something was wrong. He had torn his shoe in the front almost all the way off except one nail. And the problem with that, it would have been better if it all came off, although he probably still would have been sore because of being off, because having one shoe on and one shoe off isn't good. It makes him sore too. But with that, there's clips in these shoes and there's nails in these shoes. And here he had been like just beating the crap out of his hoof for I'm not sure how long. We think only a few hours, but we really don't know this time. So here he is, completely happy. I think we're about ready to be able to ride again, and I'm dreaming all the wonderful things I can do with Clifford. And I thought I ruined him for good. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I can't believe this happened. And I had a little breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
couldn't sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I have really good friends. One of them helps train Clifford, and she talked me through it and said, no, he was just off. He's going to be sore. This is going to take a little while because of the trauma they had to his hoof, and we're going to have to work through it. But talk about a roller coaster of I'm so excited. I can't dream of all the things I'm going to do with Clifford. He's so happy. I can't wait to ride him. And now we're back to what feels like square one. And it really did make me feel like, I don't know, maybe I'll never be able to ride him again.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the emotional roller coaster.
And Clifford is, let me just say, you have some different health challenges that make it hard for you to stay active. And so Clifford is part of what helps you be able to stay physically active. And he is part of, he's more than just a horse. Like there's a lot that the two of you work on together that help you as a person.
No, absolutely. I say that Clifford has extended the years that I'm going to stay on this earth for sure in a miraculous way. And yeah, he's more than just a horse to me. He's a companion and friend, and really has saved my life in a lot of ways. And if you haven't had a chance to interact with horses that way, you really should. There's something else. And I was lucky enough to be able to learn that as I was at Victory Therapy, where I was able to do therapeutic riding, and that's where we got Clifford. He fell out of therapy school
In the very best way.
because he's just a goofball. Anyways, that is a long story to say that I had a lot of emotional baggage, and I tried my very best to work through that, I think. But in the end, I probably didn't work through all of it, and I got I probably needy for Amy, and I tried really hard not to. But I guess I want to get to the point where when we have this problem, and I guess it's not a problem, we know that it's the important thing. There is this difference. There is someone that is very more spontaneous, myself, who thinks about the sexual experience a lot more, desires it highly, uses it as something that feeds them and feeds their soul in doing it. And then we have you, the more of the responsive person, who has done a great job of learning how to get there, but it takes you to get to that place. It takes you to be able to be in a place of arousal before that desire comes on,
An
and
emotional
an
connection.
emotional connection and all the other stuff that go with it.
Mhm.
And so I know one is I need to get rid of the neediness for sure, because that's a turn off, and that won't allow us to connect in the way we want to connect. But what I want to focus about in this podcast a little bit is, how do we do that dance in a better way?
Mhm.
How do I know that it will take me probably to invite in some ways to initiate, to get you to the space where you can find pleasure? But it's such a vulnerable place to be
For both of us.
for both of us, especially with the past baggage that we carry.
Mhm.
And that seems to be getting less and less, but there still is. And all the couples I coach, they have this baggage. And it's this dance that they play. And when we play it, it just goes nowhere good. And this, so how do
So
we
are
avoid it?
you talking about the dance of inviting or pursuing out of neediness? Or are you just
No,
talking
I
about
I know that
inviting?
that was neediness, and I know that's what started this whole thing. Is I have
Yeah.
to get rid of that neediness. That's it. That's easy for me to find. I need to figure out how to do better. I think I do okay at it, but I still find myself. And so I'm just admitting that. And I think for everyone out there listening, if you're coming at it in a needy way to try to extract something from your spouse, she can tell, they can tell, and that is not a turn on whatsoever.
No, not at all. Because no one wants to feel used.
Right. And I think
And
I've
that
got,
feels very using.
yeah. And I've gotten better, even if being offered that state, to politely decline.
Yes,
I politely
absolutely.
declined last night. I said, no, thank you. That probably sent some emotional feedback to you too to deal with. So I guess, yes, I want to talk, we can talk
That's very
about the
different.
neediness and getting rid of the neediness part of it. But I also just want to talk, even when we're not in
Are
need,
you
there's this
talking about the
dance.
pattern of just inviting and
Yes.
receiving
How
that
do we
invite?
invite, and how do you receive the invite? What do you have learned that you've done that allows you to receive it more? How do you prepare yourself to potentially be there in that space
Mhm.
when this dance is high stakes and at times very vulnerable?
It's always vulnerable, I think. I don't think it ever isn't
But
vulnerable.
when, like, that weekend, when you're on and it's just we know we're on, then that's maybe just because it doesn't take that much inviting. It just happens.
Maybe it feels less vulnerable to you.
It still feels vulnerable to you.
I think it's always vulnerable
Okay.
for me.
Like when we're on the weekend and we're gone and we're on and it's just happening, it's like, I'm not so concerned about asking because you're like, you're in the mood like constantly. So
Mm.
that's my perspective. But I think we should want to talk about that. Just one, just again, going back, like we mess this up on a regular basis. There's nothing special about us. We struggle with the same things. But I have had quite a few clients that this is really where they get stuck, right? It's, how do I
It's very much a
invite?
minefield for both
Yep.
sides, right? Whether you're spontaneous or responsive. And we've been in all parts of that minefield. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of feeling extracted from, used, neediness, and it's so not attractive. It's and that's not to say that you aren't attractive, but
Oh, no, you don't have to mince words. I get
it
it.
it is like it's like an entitled child that's just demanding something and that you have to give. And even if you would normally give that, you're like, I don't, I, I, I can't, I don't want to. So that's hard, especially when you really care about your spouse and you love them. It's, it's really hard to move in to anything that feels like being taken from.
Well, it's okay. We get that. We understand. Don't be a spoiled rotten kid. I'll do better at doing that, and don't come out of neediness. I think that's core to understanding. But even after that, when I'm not coming out of neediness, it's still very vulnerable. And how do we do better at being in a place where it's not so emotionally challenging to invite?
Are you asking from my side or your
Yes, I'm
side?
asking for your side. I know my side.
Emotionally challenging to invite,
Yes,
to
it is
receive.
always a step into the dark, getting ready to have an emotional challenge to deal with when we invite.
And I feel like the same on the other side. It's always stepping
Well,
into the
I'm not trying to say one's better than the other.
no,
I'm just trying to say, help us spontaneous people know what we can do better. What are the things that we can work on so that we can overcome this challenge?
gotcha. Okay. I don't think I understood what you were asking. I think it's helpful to have context. And by the context, I mean when encountering desire, it makes a huge difference if you know that desire is for you and not just, I need this arousal to be taken care of. Like having the context of, I want to be with you, feel you, connect with you, have this, share this experience with you. When it has that personal feel to it, it's you that I desire, not just I want a way to get rid of this arousal. Like it's not just that it's I'm having desire and I need you to get rid of it. It's I desire you. That distinction is a huge factor for the receiving end. It's very important to know that they are wanting to be in this space with you, not just I need you so I can solve something. And I think another thing is the freedom or the safety for the person on the receiving end to be honest about where they're at, to know that they can honestly say, you know what, I want to receive this. I can't right now. Or how about this? Or what about this? To know that there's like movement in there. Like it's not like you have to show up in just this way and you have to be in this state and you have to do this. There's got to be freedom or willingness. I am always stepping into the dark and I don't always know. And so, what makes that bridge easier to cross to step into the dark is to know on the other side that you're willing to collaborate with me, or that I could say, hey, this is working, this is not working, let's try this. Or, you know what, it's just not happening. To have enough freedom to honestly say where I'm at and not have to hide or pretend or force or push, that helps crossing that bridge into that unknown feel more safe.
So I know intent is tons of it, right?
Mm.
We can read our spouse whether we think we're reading them or not, and we often can read them better than they can read themselves. But what are some of your favorite ways of me inviting you into that space that shows you that I'm wanting to collaborate with you and desire you and not just the sexual interaction?
If you are only talking about positions or acts or things like that, it doesn't actually feel connected to me. But if you're saying, I've been thinking about you all day, or you walked into the room and my whole soul lit up.
What if I throw you in the act? How's that?
Or if you like,
Shoot.
there are some
Thought that was a
times when
shortcut there.
you like maybe rub your hand along my face and look deeply into my eyes and kiss me. And that feels like you're seeing me, not like you're just trying to take a kiss. And there's so much meaningfulness in that gesture. Times where I feel taken from instead of invited into. Like, come join me here because I, I just desire you.
Do you
And
recognize that on the moment at the moment?
yeah,
It would be very, very, very helpful if we could get some, a meter, we like stats, a dashboard, something, red light, I don't keyword, I don't care what it is. But if there is a moment like that, why don't you say, hey babe, I feel like you're trying to take from me and not connect with me?
I would say it doesn't happen that often anymore.
Did you feel it yesterday?
Yes.
Did I get that feedback?
No.
And I'm not trying to push the responsibility back on someone else because we know. We know. I think the struggle for me is it's a spiral, downward spiral, right? So you get to a point where you're emotionally trying to maybe not can't connect and you have emotional things you're dealing with and you're trying to deal with that. And so you go to invite and you're probably not completely needy, but you're probably not completely clean. And
Mm.
then that unwillingness or not straightforwardness, but you can tell there's something not quite on, starts you spiraling. And the problem really is, and I've been trying to tell this to all my clients, having feelings about that are, hey, I'm sad because Amy reacted this way, or I'm disappointed because we didn't have sex tonight. Totally normal. That is not enmeshed, and that is not toxic independent. What happens is if you say, I don't care what Amy said, it doesn't matter to me. There is no emotional, power that she has when she says one way or the other. That's toxic independent. That's the bad side. Or if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this because her emotions and this is what it did to her, that's enmeshment, right? So I
Mm.
often find that when I introduce this topic to people, they usually go to toxic independent because they're like, okay, I see I shouldn't be enmeshed. Now I'm not gonna care
They go wall off regarding.
But that's a long way to say that I think there's a struggle at that point because while you're not 100% clean, I'm probably not at the bottom of the spiral at that moment.
Mm.
But the response that happens after that, because I'm not 100% clean, I have a problem dealing with it emotionally and I can't clean it up.
Mm.
And it would be quite amazing if you were to say, hey, babe, like I feel like you're eating something you're trying to extract out of me. Can
Yeah.
we talk about this? Can we figure it out? Can I help you some other way so that we can get to a point where we're connected?
Yeah.
Because now I feel like I'm on an island and like I'm on ice and wherever I touch it's gonna fall through. And it just
Mm.
becomes like the spiral because I can't go there, but yeah, I want connection, but now I'm being needy, but I know I'm being needy and it's a complete
Mm.
spiral that I need to figure out how to get myself out of. But man, it would be nice to have a partner to do that with.
Yeah, for sure. So would it be helpful if I said, this feels needy?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that.
Okay.
At one time, I probably couldn't have dealt with that
Yeah.
because I didn't have the emotional tools to deal through that. And so that would have sent me spiraling of I'm a terrible person. There's something wrong with me. And that's like the red flag I've done. If that's the canary going in the coal mine and dying, if you're starting
Mm.
to think, hey, there's something wrong with me, I'm broken, the
Yeah.
guilt and everything, now you've gone to a wrong place. I'm better at not doing that, especially on upfront responses. If you're really just sincere and upfront, I can deal with that much better. At one time, I probably couldn't, but I'm still not great at cleaning my stuff up when I know that I'm starting to spiral.
And I think the spiral, to pull this all back, really went back to Clifford
Yeah,
and the horse
100%.
and not knowing what to do and feeling like not only do you care about this horse, but this horse is part of your health and part of your emotional regulation. And there's a lot of things tied into this horse. And I've been watching you struggle and hopefully being present for you and witnessing that. And so I think yesterday I was just feeling that struggle going on.
Yeah.
So if I had said, this is feeling needy, can we try again?
Yeah. We talk about it.
Yeah.
What is it that you need? What are you struggling with?
Yeah.
Probably help me snap out of it. And again, it's my responsibility 100%, but man, that would be helpful. And I think probably helpful for a lot of spontaneous folks out there
Mm-hmm.
that deal with that. Because we're so spontaneous, we can go to this to do a lot of things, and some of it's good and some of it's bad.
What do you mean go to
We
it?
can go to buffer
Oh,
to
gotcha.
deal with our emotions because you're responsive, so you don't get there until you're actually in a place where you're aroused and turned on, right?
Right. Get to
Because
desire is what you
we
mean.
can call that we can recall that at any moment in our mind. We can use it to help buffer us through emotions.
Mm.
And by the way, if you see the lights flashing, it's because we're running via generator. We should bring this episode to you by Duramax generators. Our power's out. So
They're working on something down the street.
yeah,
So our
well, you might
power's
say it
out
every once in a
today.
while, but it's pretty amazing that we're actually recording podcasts running on a generator. So back to that, I think it's just to the point where I know I'm there. I can't quite grasp it because we can use it to buffer. We can use it in a lot of different ways because we can recall it.
So you were feeling desire yesterday, not necessarily for me, but as a way to pull yourself out of your sorrow for Clifford.
Probably.
Okay.
If I think about it now, I didn't think about it then.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are hot. So I told her this morning if she could solve the problem of being hot, it would help out a lot, right? 27 years I've suffered with this problem.
For
She didn't
you.
seem to have a way to fix it. So I don't know.
No, there's definitely a real feeling between the difference of I need this and I want to be with you.
Right. I think last night I was half and half. Like I started to
Mhm.
come out of it. I was starting to realize that I was in a place that I didn't want to be and neediness. And that's why I actually had the ability to say no, thank you,
Mhm.
which I was glad that I did.
Yeah. And then we just held each other.
What did that emotionally bring up in you when I said no, thank you? I felt a change, but I wasn't sure what it was.
I let's see. I'm trying to be really honest, so give me a second. I think I felt a mixture of emotions. There was a little bit of being pushed away and rejected, which I was like, oh, that's fair. And then I was also indicative of the struggle you were at, which I witnessed, all week and I know is happening and I'm aware of. And so there was some empathy, maybe. Yeah, this is just really hard for him. And I see that. And I feel for you in this struggle. And also a little sadness because I do like being with you. I do like being intimate with you. I do like connecting with you. So,
Yeah, I don't know if if I would have said yes, it would have been an awful, terrible experience.
right.
But I think it was probably one of the first times where I'm like, I'm not quite in the emotional place to do this.
Mm,
And it could be okay, but it would feel more extraction than it would feel connection.
yeah. And what we really don't want is that extracted
Hmm.
feeling.
I mean, in the end, that's all we really want is to feel connected and chosen,
Yeah.
period. Uh, I have never seen any other struggle come down to anything else.
Right. And I think what we did like enjoy most is presence. And because you were struggling so much, there wasn't presence.
Yeah.
So I maybe didn't have the words for it last night, but I could tell you were just struggling in yourself. And so there wasn't enough like bandwidth there to be present.
Yeah, I think also as a spontaneous person, we also go back to our beautiful, wonderful, big playground that we've built, and all
Mm,
the fun things that we think, hey, if you'll engage me in this way, that would be fun, and that would just distract me out of all these things like that
you're
too. So
looking for that buffer.
not only is it can we think about all the things, but I think we lose a little bit of that sense of co-creation. At least I do. I'll speak for myself. I think at that moment I've lost the sense of co-creation. Maybe that was where I was like, okay, if I say yes, will this be a really a co-created moment, or will this be a one-sided thing?
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing worse than a one-sided thing
Yeah.
for both
From either
parties,
way.
right?
Yeah.
You feel like you've just extracted and taken someone from someone that you love. Another one
Mm-hmm.
person feels like they were taken from, which is awful too. So
Yeah.
nothing good goes on there.
I think there was also some relief that you were honest. Like, hey, this just isn't good for me. And I was like, okay. But there was a mixture of things happening within me. And I was grateful that I could just hold you. And then I actually practiced just breathing through those and letting them be and relaxing next to you and just reminding myself of the goodness that we have, even in the midst of struggle. And I just calmed down. I guess there was some anxiety too, like anxiety for Clifford and anxiety for you and how this will turn out. And it was just and time for me to also just calm through those and be next to you.
Yeah. No, in the end, it worked out pretty well, but I think this is the ultimate challenge that we're going to have that
Mhm.
helps us grow, right? I think there was growth that happened last night and this morning.
I also have to say that I yesterday was extraordinarily tired.
Yes, you were.
I think I forgot to take an
You're
important medicine.
innocent. Yeah.
And so I was also just, which is abnormal for me.
Yep. And I knew that too. That whole situation, I knew where you were at on that
And
day.
we were helping a lot. with our family in different ways. And so already, maybe that's more why I didn't have the power to say, hey,
Right.
Greggy, what's going on here? I don't think I would have said needy. I think in our normal thing would have been like, hey, what's going on? Like this, that's probably how I would have addressed it normally. But I was struggling just to exist.
Yeah. It's going on, been going on for a few days too, right? So
Yeah.
in the end, like we said, it's my thing to learn how to do better. I think that we can be partners with each other in helping be more honest. And when it comes down to it, I had a client yesterday that said, "Okay, so you mean I need to emotionally connect with my wife?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's true
Bingo.
because
I mean, I've
the
had
the
clients
smoke is
say,
the sexual tension is the smoke. Like
yes,
they
yes.
come to you struggling, "Hey, I'm struggling because I want to initiate. My wife doesn't want to,
I
or
want more
I want
frequency. I
more
want more
frequency. I want,
novelty.
yeah,
I want
there's all
more,
kinds of things
more,
around
more,
it.
more.
But you get in and you start chatting with them about the relationship, and it almost always just comes down to they need to connect emotionally with each other. Not always, but I think it's I kind of laugh like, yeah, there is a huge connection between emotional connection and especially for the responsive person feeling safe emotionally and connected allows them to go to the place they need to go to.
I will say something that we've sort of inadvertently added in, it wasn't like a conscious decision, I don't think, is the daily ritual we have of holding each other every
Yeah.
morning. And for me, there were times when I think you tried to initiate that, but the meaning was more of extraction and taking. And now it really is, I want to be this close with you and breathe you, hold you. And that meaning allows it to happen. But also knowing that happens every day, it allows me to daily remember, and not only just remember, but like physically feel, like in my emotions, in my nervous system, in my minds, and in beliefs, like that you desire to be close to me, not just you have desire.
Right. And that definitely is a place where I had to clean my stuff up before that would work, right? Because before it was an extraction kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd want to hold you so that I could hopefully get laid.
Or you were grabby or
Or
like
I needed to
pushing.
fulfill this desire by grabbing onto you.
Yeah.
And so calming down, going through the process of learning what it really meant and both working on that for quite a long time. It's
Mhm.
not something you're going to like tomorrow instead of rolling over and grabbing your boob. It doesn't mean I want to have sex. And now it means that I'm snuggling you. That's going to take a while, but it was really working through that. What is my intent behind it?
Yes. And that meaning, that intent, that context is so crucial. It's the difference between allowing me to step into that dark, which I appreciate that you also have to step into that vulnerability and dark and inviting and pursuing and asking. And I respect that. And I know how hard that is. And also from my responsive side, it is equally difficult to step into that space, into that dark, not knowing if your body's going to show up, if your mind's going to torment you, if you're going to be able to have enough freedom and honesty to say, hey, this isn't working. Can we try this? Can we do this? And not be punished or criticized or pushed to places that you aren't comfortable being in.
Yeah.
It's really crucial.
And I know this whole talk is pretty heavy in doing it. I wanted you all to be aware that, again, hopefully you don't come across self that we haven't figured this out. We struggle with it on a regular basis. You will continue to struggle with it since marriage is the relationship that exposes your weaknesses that you have to deal with. And I think it will continue to do that the rest of our lives. That's what I've discovered. We're not going to achieve something and arrive. There's no arrival in marriage. It's a constant ability to work on ourselves and be better. And that's the most amazing. It's the hardest part, but the most amazing part too, is that you can continue to become more of what you want to be so that you can respect yourself more. And when it does work, it's the most absolute fantastic, amazing thing in the whole entire world. So let's not end on the wah, wah, wah side. It's just amazing. That connection there's no other connection out there when you really are connecting on all levels. And it's amazing. So we want to make sure that we're encouraging everyone wherever you're at. This is this is a journey. There's not an arrival place. This is a journey that we can continue to work with. And what I love about our retreats, another thing, is that we get together and we get to work with everybody and know that we're all kind of working through the same things. We're all normal. This is part of life. And we get to work on things together and learn from each other.
Yeah, I wish everyone had the experience of sitting in a retreat, especially when we do like our separate men's and women's groups. It's so often in those groups that men recognize, hey, everyone else is having the same struggle, and women recognize, I'm not alone, I'm not broken. And there's so much hope and peace in that, because I think we silently struggle and think we're the only ones.
Yep. We started toying with the idea of having one this morning.
Yeah, a retreat fetish.
I was going to let you all guess what we meant. But we'd love to hear from you if you would be interested in joining us in a retreat here in Texas soon. Well, thank you so much for listening. It's fabulous to know. Like I said, this is such a blessing to us. It seems like a therapy session every
Welcome to the Langford therapy
way
session.
to sit into our therapy session every week. So appreciate you sitting and listening to our therapy session. I'm hoping that you all take something from it. So here, this is what we need you to do. We need you to come back that 1-star review. So if you listen to us on Apple Podcast, go to the main page, Undressing Intimacy, scroll down to the bottom, past all the episodes. And if you get to the bottom, you'll see there's a star rating and comments. Please, if you like us, leave stars. If you don't, you're not going to join us again. So we'll take your feedback, but you don't have to leave it. Add some stars there. Give us some feedback. We would love to hear from you. We appreciate each one of you. And no matter what platform you listen to, please like and subscribe. That helps get us out there to others, because as they search, they'll see that it's a highly rated podcast and they'll be able to listen to, and that's what we really want.
Yeah. And we work really hard not to monetize or sell or do anything here, to just be able to bring this content to you for free. So I guess our ask in return is that you give us some feedback.
Yep. Give us some feedback. We love it. You can email us at greg@langfordlifecoaching.com
or amy@langfordlifecoaching.com.
It's LANGFORD, lifecoaching.com. You can come see us on our website. That'd be great. We have a little free consult button. We'd love to talk to you. Click on that. Come chat with us. We love it. And until next time,
keep undressing your intimacy.
bye-bye.